Hi guys, I am Anita Winters and welcome to my channel. Here you can see a bunch of backgrounds that I have created in one of my previous videos. And I'm trying to choose which one should I be working on today. Also, these backgrounds are available for free downloads on my website. So if you like to print it out and give it a go, the link is in the description. I want to start with a line from Seneca. The worst is not the one who suffers, but the one who feels nothing and continues to live by habit. It's a line written almost 2,000 years ago, yet it feels written for us today. Because what is more common now than living by habit? We wake up, check our phones, go to work, do our tasks, scroll through feeds, fall asleep, and repeat. It's not even suffering, it's numbness. And numbness is more dangerous than pain because pain at least makes you act. Numbness makes you accept. We often say, I'm tired, I just need rest. But have you noticed how sometimes even after rest, after a holiday, after 8 hours of sleep, the fatigue doesn't go away? That's because it's not just physical exhaustion, it's disconnection. Disconnection from yourself, from meaning, from spirit. The ancients knew this. Shamans called it loss of spirit. When someone no longer sings or dances or feels alive. The Stoics described such people as living corpse. Epictetus warned, if you do not know why you live but continue to live, you are a slave, not a free person. And that's the trap many of us find ourselves in. Living but not living for ourselves. Now let's bring this closer to today. Think about modern life. The endless grind of emails, jobs where we judged by productivity apps and weekly performance reports, families squeezed between mortgages, bills, and the constant pressure to provide. Even children from a young age, they're taught to sit still, to do the worksheet, tick the boxes. We're taught discipline, performance, and efficiency, but rarely we're taught to pause, to feel, to listen inward. That's why so many of us feel like we're running on 10% battery all the time. We're not broken, but we've been programmed into a system that values output over aliveness. Yuval Noah Harari put it very sharply. The system does not care about your happiness. It cares about your efficiency. And here is where Carl Jung becomes very relevant. Jung believed that when people ignore their inner life, their imagination, dreams, instincts, and creativity, they become ill in spirit. He described much of modern suffering not as disease, but as meaninglessness. He said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. In other words, if you don't face the hidden parts of yourself, your suppressed emotions, your forgotten creativity, your inner voice, then you will keep running on autopilot, mistaking habits for destiny. One of Jung's practices was that he called active imagination. He would ask patients to take an image from a dream or even just a spontaneous shape in their mind and draw it, paint it, or even have a dialogue with it. By doing this, people started to reconnect with parts of themselves that words alone couldn't reach. Jung himself drew hundreds of mandalas, circular, symmetrical images that emerged from his unconscious. He didn't draw them for art's sake, but as a way to ground himself and integrate his inner world. Now think about how this connects with intuitive art. When you sit down with paper and pencils without a strict plan and you just let lines and colors flow, you are doing what Jung described. You are letting the unconscious speak, and something magical happens. You start to feel again. You might begin with scribbles, then suddenly a flower emerges, or shape, or even just a pattern that feels alive. It's like when we were children looking at clouds. We saw faces, animals, the entire worlds. That's intuitive art, not controlling but allowing, not producing but discovering. And here is why it matters in our time. Studies now show that creative practices, whether drawing, dancing, or even gardening, lower stress hormones, slow the heart rate, and improve mood. Art therapy is being used with children who have anxiety, with veterans coping with PTSD, and with people recovering from burnout. Neuroscience confirms what the ancients and Jung already knew. Creativity is healing because it reconnects us with ourselves. And it's not just about art, it's about grounding, because the essence of grounding is transferring attention from the racing mind to the living body and senses. Hi guys, a quick interruption. I had to show you Giverny, which is a little beautiful village in northern France where Claude Monet lived for over 40 years. And this is the place where he designed his own gardens, including the Japanese bridge and most famous water lily pond, which became the subject of over 250 paintings. He was so fascinated with change of lights and reflections that he painted the same scenes over and over in a different time of a day and every season. Monet actually said that his garden was his greatest masterpiece, and it's easy to see why. The place itself became his inspiration and also his way of practicing mindfulness long before the word even existed. In my previous video, we talked about painting flower gardens as a form of art therapy and its positive effects. And Monet's story is such a beautiful example of that, how immersing yourself in nature, colors, and repetition can bring peace, focus, and joy. His work still carries that calming effect today, over a century later. Let's try this little exercise just briefly. Notice your feet pressing against the floor. Notice your breath, not changing it, just feeling it. Listen for a sound around you hadn't noticed before. Feel the texture of your hands, your clothes. In just a few seconds, you are already less in your head and more here, alive. Now imagine taking that practice into drawing. You trace a flower, outline a leaf, add color. It doesn't matter if it's realistic. What matters is that for those minutes, you are fully here, with color, with movement, with sensation. Monet spent over 40 years painting the same gardens in Giverny. The water lilies, the Japanese bridge, the shifting light. Why? Because he wasn't chasing novelty. He was grounding himself in the presence of what was already there. His garden became his meditation. And this is what we've lost today. We chase the next thing, the next achievement, the next update. But what if the way back isn't forward, but inward? What if the cure for exhaustion isn't more effort, but presence? So when you feel the deep fatigue that no coffee or holiday seems to fix, remember, it may not be tiredness at all. It may be what Jung, Seneca, Epictetus, and the shamans were all pointing to, the loss of spirit. And that loss is actually an invitation to return. Return to yourself, to your senses, to your creativity, to your why. Because the moment you draw a line freely, breathe deeply, notice the colors of the world around you, the numbness cracks. The spirit moves again. You remember you are not a machine. You are alive.